Hello, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining the session today. My name's Abby Brandis, and I'm going to be talking to you today about trades and apprenticeships and different pathways. So the slideshow that I'm going to be showing is all of our shops on campus and all of our students learning in the shops, doing their things, learning their trade, being taught by faculty who have worked in the field for a number of years and are now in our shops teaching students how to do the trade. So great experience from them and just some good visuals to look at while I am talking. So an apprenticeship is all about you yourself going and finding an employment with the full-time employment. So an apprenticeship is on-the-job training. 90% is done on the job and 10% is done in school. So what that means is you yourself go out, market yourself to employers, try to find yourself employment with an employer. You would then sign a training agreement with that employee yourself, and then that would go to the ministry. Once the ministry receives your training agreement, that's your actual official start to an apprenticeship. And you're learning on the job. You're getting paid to train. The general rule of thumb is that a starting apprentice makes about 90% of what a fully licensed journey person makes. And you work your way up in pay in those 3 to 5 years for an apprenticeship. So each apprenticeship has a certain amount of hours on the job that needs to be completed and a certain amount of hours in school that need to be completed as well. And that's where the 90% and 10% come in, because it is only a very small in-school portion that you have. The general rule of thumb is once you find that employer signing that training agreement, and then that goes to the ministry, they start documenting things that you're doing on the job, accumulating hours. Once you've accumulated usually about a year's worth of hours on the job, they would then send you an offer for your first in-school portion, where you and all the other apprentices out there working on the job would then come to a college like Conestoga for usually an 8-week in-school portion, or 1 day a week for the equivalent of 8 weeks, depending on what works best for your employer and what is being offered at that time. And once you're done that in-school session, then you write a small a test for that session. And then when you go back to work, you move up a level, and then so on and so on. So every year there's an in-school portion that needs to be complete. And once you've completed those on-the-job hours and in-school portions, then you write your final exam to get your license in a trade. And that is the only way anybody can really do an apprenticeship in Ontario. There is a huge demand for apprentices, for skilled trades workers. There is a huge shortage in all areas, but you won't really see a lot of advertisements or job postings for companies looking for starting out apprentices. And that's really because it's a lot of time and money that a company invests in you as an apprentice. So generally they want to make sure that you know what you're getting into, you've tried it, you like it, that sort of stuff. And so it really takes a lot of knocking on doors, getting your foot in the door, proving yourself as a good employee, tailoring your resume to say things like you're willing to prove yourself as a good employee with the intention of starting an apprenticeship, getting your foot in the door any way possible with a company, and showing up every day, doing those tasks that maybe you don't necessarily want to be doing, but that's going to get you the respect and moving up and, prove your dedication to an employer that, yes, you really do want to get into this. And then that's really how you get an apprenticeship. It really is all about you proving yourself as a good employee. You won't find those apprenticeship postings, like I said. And it is a lot of time and money that they're investing in training you, because they're paying you to train you. And then they're also paying full-time employees that they've had working there who have gone through for their apprenticeship to train you as well. And then also there's the in-school portions that is heavily funded by the government and some of it by the company. And the cost to the apprentice for those in-school portions is only around $500. So it is a heavily funded program for you, training for you. It is a great opportunity if you can make those connections with employers and go right out into the working environment. Now, if you haven't, there's lots of different stages of when people start an apprenticeship. Some come directly out of high school. Some start one while they're still in high school. Some, don't finish high school and do an apprenticeship. Some people do things for quite a few years and then decide that maybe an apprenticeship is right for them. So there's a lot of people at different stages looking to acquire an apprenticeship. And like I said, I can't stress this enough. An apprenticeship is all about you making connections with employers. If you are having trouble making connections with employers, because that can be difficult, especially if you don't know anybody in the trade, have any experience, or are a little less of, maybe you don't have, some people have a lot of confidence to walk in and say, you want to hire me, these are my reasons. If you need a little bit of skill to back that up, that's really where colleges come into play. Is colleges offer really good hands-on programs that are designed to help make you more appealing to employers, to help make you, they bring you in, they teach you the trade, all the tools, the lingo that goes along with it, a lot of the safeties. It helps prove dedication to employers. There are a number of different reasons of why people choose to take the programs, but it really is a stepping stone to help you get to an apprenticeship. Companies really like to hire from our programs as well, simply because they know what's taught, they know the skills that you're coming into, and it is just one step proving your dedication to that employer. It used to be really easy back in the day for anybody to obtain an apprenticeship. I used to be able to walk in, let's say, to a welding shop and say, I want to be a welder. And there's a welding picture. They'd say, sure, no problem. And hire me. And maybe I had never tried welding, so I'm learning the ropes. Maybe 3 years or 2 years or even 1 year into it, I'm like, oh, this isn't for me. I don't really like this. It's not what I thought I was going to do. And if that's the case, then, I've wasted a lot of that company's time and money, them thinking that they were going to have a long-time employee. And unfortunately, that's happened time and time again. And so now companies are kind of protecting themselves. They're just not really putting those advertisements out there. They're hiring from within. They want that work ethic that they know from an employer that's maybe already been there. So again, it really is getting in good with a company. So our programs are good stepping stones to help you get there. Some programs have paid co-op work terms, which are a great opportunity for you to prove yourself for that work term chunk of time. Often they do lead to job offers because they've already trained you for those 4 months. They, if you're doing a good job for them, they like it, all that sort of stuff. So co-ops are a great opportunity, but we do have Conestoga really has high employment rates coming out of the trades programs that are offered. So I'm just going to navigate a little bit through the website. So I'm just going to pull this over. So to start an apprenticeship, really there are no specific admission requirements. Usually there's an age requirement. Right now in Ontario, it's about 16 that you would have to be of that age to be registered as an apprentice. Now, where you'd need requirements if you're thinking of taking a full-time program that would help you be more appealing to employers. So if you go to conestogac.on.ca, some good information right off the bat here, virtual open house. So November 20th, Saturday, there's an open house coming up. All program areas will have faculty speaking to them. So if you want more information, great day to check that out. You can go to the Visit Us tab which would then, if you hit the virtual tour tab, it would then allow you to get a virtual tour of our campuses, since not a lot of current students are able to go on campus these days. So you can get a feel for what it's like, and you can see the shops and see the detail in the programs and things like that through the virtual tour. But full-time programs, these are going to be all the programs that are designed to help you be more appealing to employers by giving you the hands-on experience. So I'm going to select area of interest here and trades. Apply filter. And then this is going to list all the programs that are offered for the School of Trades and Apprenticeships. So these you do not need an employer for. These are the programs that, again, are intended to help make you more appealing to employers. And these you would need certain admission requirements for. So I'm just going to click on electrical technician. So if you're looking to be an electrician, this would be the program that you're wanting to get into. A program page, it'll give you the name of the program, the next available open start date for the program, a bit of a description, a program video or a trade video, and then tuition details, and then some information about co-op. Also, the delivery. So if you're in the co-op or non-co-op stream, when you'd be in class, when you'd be on work term, or when you'd be on class, and when you'd be on break. And then contact information. So my contact information is trades@Conestoga. So if you did have questions, you could go to the program page and email, or go to our booth and ask questions there as well if you don't have an opportunity to today. But these tabs across here are really good information. The admissions tab. So what this means is this is what's required for you to be accepted into the program. So if you can have your high school diploma, if you've graduated high school. If you haven't graduated high school, there's or equivalents, like you're getting your GED, or maybe coming out of another college program, things like that. Or if you're over 19, you're able to apply as a mature student. That being said, you would still need to prove that you have some sort of grade 12 English and some sort of grade 12 math at a C or U college or university level credit. So if you're not coming directly out of high school, maybe you don't have those. And then there are other ways to get them. You can do upgrading, pre-admissions testing. You could always go to an adult learning center. So there are ways to get them. But so if you don't have your high school diploma and are over 19, you're able to apply still. And courses. So this might help you to determine if a program is right for you. It will give you a bit of a description of the course, how many hours you spend doing each course. And then if it's a 2-year course, just hit select more for the complete offering there. And then the careers tab. So the careers tab is going to tell you what types of jobs people do. You can also go to the career coach and do more career research from that description as well. So if we just go back to the main trades page, which I might do from this way. Areas of interest. So at Conestoga, there are agricultural programs, brick and stone, construction, electrical, machining, millwright, plumbing, motive power, if it's automotive, heavy duty equipment, truck and coach, motorcycle, excuse me, woodworking. There's quite a variety of offerings. Usually they are very specific to a trade. So if you want to be a plumber, you take a year-long course to help you learn the knowledge about that trade, and then hopefully find an apprenticeship from there. Some programs do offer a couple levels of those in-school portions that I was talking about that go along with that work experience. Just because you're in our facility already, we teach them. We're accredited to teach them. So we include them in our curriculum. And then those are things to help make you more appealing to employers. So you wouldn't have to come for those first couple in-school portions again. You'd work for maybe 3 years, come for your last in-school portion, write your final exam, get your license in the trade. So again, they are pretty specific to certain areas. There are a few different programs, the construction techniques programs that you see here that do rotate through 4 different trades. They have different start dates as well. So the intent of these programs is to help give you a little bit of a taste test for the certain areas. If you haven't had an opportunity to try them and really have no idea even where to start, these are really great opportunities for that. You get the hands-on experience, carpentry, electrical, HVAC, welding, masonry, plumbing, electrical, carpentry, welding, HVAC, plumbing, and masonry. So some of them do overlap, some are different, but they are a good, way to get your foot in the door, try some trades. Usually from these, students would take a more specific or a trade specific course after, but that's really dependent on you and your ability to market yourself to employers with what you've learned coming out of it. So that's basically it for me. There are some questions, I think, going on. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And did you want me to answer anything out loud?
You know what? There was one. Can international students attend these apprenticeship programs? I thought that might be a better one to answer live.
Excellent question. So it depends on the trade. And it really depends on the availability for numbers. So our trade programs are usually capped at a very small number because we really maximize shop time for our students to learn. So sometimes there are opportunities for 1 or 2 spots of international students in our intake. So reasons for that, it really depends if you are going to stay, if you're planning on staying, planning on getting a work visa, becoming a permanent resident. To do an apprenticeship in Ontario, you have to be a permanent resident or on the path to becoming a permanent resident. And since a lot of our trades programs do incorporate levels 1 and 2 of the in-school portion, that is really the path that you are on, and it is very tailored to Ontario. So it really depends on what you're doing after, the trade that you're interested in. A lot of the trades do accept a couple of international students, but some will not. And that's just because there are reasons why, because you wouldn't be able to be an apprentice at that time.
And another good question just came in. Are the trades courses Red Seal?
So what a Red Seal is, when you're talking about trades, can get very confusing. So in Ontario, there are about 150 different types of careers you can do as an apprenticeship. 50 of those are mandatory, meaning 50 of those trades you have to go through for the traditional apprenticeship route to be able to work in that field. Electrician, plumber, HVAC technician, automotive mechanic, those types of trades. And if you're in one of those 50 trades, they have something that is called a Red Seal. And your Red Seal is something you can go on and get after you complete your apprenticeship. So your 3 to 5 year apprenticeship, depending on the trade. After you complete that, you would then need to complete a certain amount of hours on top of that. You would be able to write your Red Seal exam. And your Red Seal is an interprovincial exam. So if you're looking to move interprovincially throughout Ontario, you'd write that exam. And then if you wanted to move out east, you'd be able to without having to do any other schooling or anything on top of your apprenticeship.
We had a question, and I sort of answered it in the chat, but I think it'd be good to probably answer for the group as a whole. Are there co-op options for your programs?
Yeah, so depending on the trade, you can when you look at the program page, it will say optional co-op. So you apply directly into a program, and it depends on your marks while you're in the program, whether you get into the co-op stream. So usually you're in the first semester, they talk to you about if you're interested in applying to co-op. You can apply to co-op. It would depend what your marks were. Usually it's a 70%. And then if you have that, then you're eligible to do the co-op work term. A lot of our trade programs don't have co-ops. A lot of them are just 1 year in length, and you go right out into employment. And a lot of our programs have 100% employment rate. It's just, you know, that helping you get more exposure and connection to employers. So just because there isn't a co-op, don't let that hold you back. You can be very successful in that, connecting with employers anyway. Some of our 2-year programs don't have a co-op for that 4 months off, but a lot of students end up working for that trade for whatever program they're in anyway for their summer off.
And just to highlight too, for those programs that don't have co-op, we've got such amazing labs with our programs, like, you know, just taking motive power, for example, they're in, you know, taking apart engines, or they're in the motorcycle shop, or, you know, masonry. We've got a huge masonry building where students are putting stuff together all the time. So it's not co-op, but they're getting so much lab experience that's why employers love our grads. So
for sure. Thanks for that, Jason. And it's about a 60-40 split. So most programs you're in the shop 60% of the time, and then 40% of the time you're learning the theory, but the theory that you're learning is only relative to the things that you're carrying out in the shop anyway. Some trades are even higher, like our brick and stone program, 90% of the time you're in the shop. So again, it depends on the trade, but 60 to 90%, those are pretty good odds of being in a shop time and getting that hands-on exposure. So
now this one's a little bit different question, Abby. Are engineering technologist programs upgradable? We may need a second question for this. I'm not sure what you mean by upgradable. Like, are you looking for degree options? Like, do you want to become a Peng? Because that would be more on our engineering realm. It wouldn't really be trades related. And correct me if I'm wrong.
Totally. You answered that great. And if you are kind of thinking trades after any of these programs, it's just going to work as an apprentice. That's the ultimate goal. So if it's these programs that I'm talking about, it would be just going out into work. There's no other really education that you need to get after, except through the apprenticeship. But if it is engineering, then there are pathways, yes, into degrees and other options.
And yes, good question. This session is just for trades. If you are looking for pathways, for example, into nursing or health science, stop by the booth and I'd be more than happy to chat with you about other pathways. Yeah, I'm just looking through the list here. I don't think there's any other questions. Now, one thing I was thinking while you were talking, Abby, I know, I don't know if it's a pain to share your screen again, but I know you put together a really good section on our website about your welding pathways. Mm-hmm. Maybe just to highlight that, if anyone here is interested in welding, there's some really good charts and stuff that Abby's put on there.
Not sure if that's coming through. Oh, that does not look good. Yeah. I'll stop sharing. I'll try that again.
Okay.
Okay, maybe that'll work better. Thank you. So one way to search for welding programs would be to type in welding, and you can see I do it often. It comes up. So then this would lead you to the variety of options that would help you get into welding. So we have great pathways to different programs. And if you're not really sure what welding program is right for you, oh, it seems to have gone off from this. If you click a welding program, any welding program, you'll see this here that says which welding program is right for you, because there are a lot of options and where do you start. So you can click on and get this comparison chart to expand. So it's going to tell you all of the different welding programs that are offered. It's going to tell you if it is a good starting point, no skills necessary, and then the skills that you'll develop, a little synopsis of the skills you'll develop, and then also where you can get into the other welding programs that you can branch into after doing these starting type of programs. So there is a lot of welding variety. It goes even into other trades that deal with welding that don't focus solely on welding. So there's a lot of options there. And then the traditional welding apprenticeship, those would be the in-school portion towards your traditional apprenticeship. So you'd need to be a registered apprentice before you'd accept an offer from that. But these have really good each program name. And again, it will tell you if it's a good starting point, the skills you develop, and then the other programs you can get into from that. So Conestoga is actually it is the most comprehensive welding school for Ontario. So there is a variety of welding that you can do in our program. You learn straight welding, welding and fabrication, but then we also focus on welding and robotics. So teaching you yourself how to weld, you program robots how to weld, you learn how to program robots to then teach the robots how to weld. So a very niche program. Students go out of that and make quite a lot of money. And then there's the welding inspection. So you, again, yourself learn how to weld, and then you would be learn and taught how to be a weld inspector. So you would inspect other people's welds. So yeah, that's just a great kind of tool to help you. Also, when you are on a program page, if you do go to the more info, so program description, admission, courses, careers, I talked about those tabs, but the more info tab will also, if you scroll down, bring you directly to the shops, and you can do a virtual tour right from there. So you can kind of see, you can go up and down all around. This is just the cutting. I'm stuck on here now. Can't get out. That's probably making people feel a little sick. You can see all the way around anyway. You can go to the next slide and things like that too.
Thanks, Abby. Another question. What is the best path for me to get into construction management?
So that depends. If it's more of like the engineering side of construction, or if you're looking to just be like a contractor who would be ahead of a job site and organize everything, but also know how to do the work. That's what you're interested in, the construction tech or the carpentry and renovation technician 2-year program would be a good pathway into that. Otherwise,
I was going to say, if you want to cover off the trades angle, Abby, I can talk about the engineering angle to it.
Sure, you can talk about the engineering.
Okay.
I feel like that's maybe more of the path by the management.
Yeah, so we have 3 programs. We've got architecture, construction, engineering, technology. So that's where you're going to get more into the designing. And what we found was that students 5 to 10 years down the road were stepping into these project management roles, so overseeing the construction of, whether it's a mall or a high rise or whatever it is. And because of that, seeing our diploma grads step into these roles, we developed a 4-year degree called Architecture, Project, and Facility Management that's strictly to put grads into this field where they are overseeing these projects. And they can also stay on as a facility manager afterwards. All that being said, we also have graduate certificates called Construction Project Management. So you could take, a 2-year diploma in anything else that's maybe engineering or even trades related, and then take the Construction Project Management graduate certificate afterwards. So anyways, there's a few options for you.
So the big difference between what Jason was talking about and what I'm talking about is the programs I'm talking about, you're physically learning how to do the work as a carpenter, renovator, that type of stuff. The stuff that Jason was talking about would refer to more of the design aspect, computer drawings, and that sort of thing.
And project manager. So
yes.
Dealing with the budget, dealing with the contractors, dealing with the admin, dealing with your bosses, so all that sort of stuff.
So trade to construction management. So yeah, if you're interested in the trade itself, it would be the construction and renovation technician program with an optional co-op, which is a 2-year program. Year 1 is common with the construction techniques carpentry program, which is really designed to bring you in, give you concrete forming, interior, exterior finishes, framing, roofing, I mean, tiling, you get it all in that 1 year. And then the construction techniques carpentry program is just 1 year to get you onto a job site and working. And then you can decide the 2-year, the carpentry and renovation technician. The second year focuses on if you are going to renovate a kitchen, bathroom, basement, you know, how would you do a materials list? How would you come up with a drawing, quote a job, that sort of stuff, as well as execute something like that. So some people aren't interested in that. They just want to do the work and get out. And some people really are. So they are transferable if you find yourself in the 2-year program and want to get out. After year 1, you can graduate from the construction techniques carpentry 1 year. If you did want to move on to the program that Jason was referring to, the post-grad, you would need a 2-year diploma. And so you would have to do the carpentry and renovation technician program.
I think that's it for, I don't see any other questions here, so.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Sorry, were you going to say something, Jason?
You know what, I was just going to say, and this was a question we had earlier, I think it was Conestoga in general, but what would you say our most popular trades programs are in terms of, I guess,
for trades, I would say electrical, automotive, like HVAC. It's your more common trades that you see. Like everybody drives a car, so naturally they want to get into automotive rather than like truck and coach or heavy equipment or motorcycle, or thinking of those other motive power trades. Same with electrical. For some reason, electrical seems to be very, very popular. Everybody wants to be an electrician. But I mean, there is a huge demand for trades all over. If you have no idea where to start and are looking to get into a trade, the less common trades are actually the best to get into because they have more job opportunities at the end.
And a question, can you please tell me how to join the nutrition program? Again, I'll suggest this session is just for trades. So go into our booth and chat with, you can chat with me when you go into our booth. Just send me a request and yeah, I'll chat with you about how to look at some of our other health science programs. And I think that's it. I don't see any other questions. So yeah, again, feel free to drop by the booth. Both Abby and I will be in there for a little bit afterwards, and then I will be in there for the rest of the day, talk about whether it's business or health science or engineering, whatever. So feel free to come on in.
Have a nice afternoon. Thanks for joining today.
Thanks, everyone.